Welcome to the Teachers on Fire podcast, where 21st century educators come to share, learn, and be inspired. We believe in the growth mindset, creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and strategic uses of education technology. Our mission is to share news and views from teachers who are crushing it in the classroom and making a difference for learners everywhere. I'm your host, Tim Cavey. Let's jump into today's episode. Today, I'm speaking with Kimberly Snodgrass. Kimberly advocates for creative thinking. She's a technology-loving ELA educator, and she's a fan of BookSnaps, Sketchnotes, and much more. Kimberly, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Are you ready to talk education?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I like the sound of that. Let's jump in by talking about your current context in education.
All right. Currently, I am a 7th grade language arts teacher at a mid-sized school in Nebraska. I have taught 7th grade now this is the 5th year. Prior to that, I taught high school for about 4 years. And I guess I'm trying to think. I kind of got into education in a interesting way. So this is kind of my 3rd degree, really. So
Wow.
I'm not as young as it sounds when I've been teaching for 9 years, but I'll take it.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Now, Kim, we like to start, or I guess I like to start by taking you back to a low moment. We don't always like to do that, but I think there's so much to be learned from hearing about other people's difficulties and challenges. So tell us about some adversity that you've faced along your education journey and then how you worked through it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just said I got into education in kind of an odd way. So my first degree was in advertising, and then I worked for the paper in Lincoln, Nebraska, and took my first job with them. And it was at a really small office, and I'm a people person, and I was just craving people. So ended up getting in with this kind of like human resources staffing company, really big company, and worked for them. And just one of the things I had like a goal for myself, I'm like, okay, I need a master's, shortly after graduating college. So I waited maybe 2 years, started a business master's degree, finished that, and then worked for ConAgra, another big company, in their human resources department. And still just kind of like the cubicle thing, this is not my thing. And random conversation with a friend, and ended up, he was a principal and said, we have this language arts opening, and I'm not a language arts teacher. And he's like, well, there's this cool program that the University of Nebraska Kearney has. It's transition to teaching. And with your journalism and mass communications degree, I have a feeling you'd, be okay. And so I called, and kind of just the stars aligned, which sounds pretty magical until your first day. You show up in the classroom, never having taught before and never having taken an education class before.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey guys, here I am. So that, it was both a low point and a high point, and just the best of everything all at once. But it was definitely a sink or swim moment in my teaching career. And I think a lot of good came about having, no preconceived ideas or information on how things should be run in a classroom, but it was definitely a learning curve too. So
yeah, I bet it was. Wow. That sounds like baptism by fire to jump into. I think you said you started at the high school level. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a small school too. So you taught everything, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, and every period was a different, class. So lots of preps, and it was a stressful start, but I wouldn't trade it, because I really love how kind of I thought about things differently, maybe more creatively, because I didn't have kind of the textbook mentality.
So, Kim, what is it that excites you about education today? This could be a big picture thing that you're looking at in education, or maybe a micro level answer, something you're doing right there in your classroom.
Okay, this is something I think is so exciting, is people are starting to accept that students need more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know what I mean? And it sounds kind of funny coming from a language arts teacher, but having had those other career experiences and being in human resources and just, being up to date on the world we live in, they need a lot more than regurgitating their textbook kind of information.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I love the trend for cultivating creativity in the classroom and
Mm-hmm.
encouraging collaboration and, just the whole critical thinking and problem solving. And there's just so many soft skills that kids are going to need more than they need to know, some of the content even. So not to say it's not important, but I think even looking back at myself and kind of the skills I think are the characteristics, traits, whatever of myself that I think help me the most are the ones I kind of learned from those group or team activities, sports, extracurricular clubs and things like that. And so when we can even foster those things in the classroom for kids that maybe aren't part of all those organizations, I just think that's exciting that people are starting to open up to that and teach differently.
Yeah. Yeah, that is music to my ears. Well put, Kim. And I think you're absolutely right. I just wrote something today actually about the 4 C's. And when we go back to, the the creativity, the critical thinking, communication, collaboration, if we can just think of that formula, that will take us so far. And I think today it really is, in the 21st century, it really is more about skills than content, right? Our students live in the Google age, and content just isn't as important in terms of memorization as maybe it once was.
Oh my gosh, exactly. And you realize I'm in another master's program now, and it's a curriculum and instruction. And kind of some of the back work we did was just realizing that education has changed very little since the Industrial Revolution, in which it was developed for, to mass produce those kind of workers. And so I think that it's definitely time that people are taking those baby steps or hopefully giant leaps towards developing those other skills, the 4 C's and beyond.
Yeah, I know if Sir Ken Robinson is listening somewhere, he's applauding right now. So,
heck yeah.
So Kim, we're lifelong learners. We're educators, which means we never stop learning. So what is another area of personal passion and learning for you?
Oh my goodness. Learning is my passion. Like I just kind of mentioned, I'm in another master's program. So this is my, second and a half, I guess, master's degree. And
Wow.
the program I'm in is a constructivist format. So I've learned a lot from there that I've taken into my classroom, just in letting students personalize their learning and construct their own meaning from the content you present to them, and a lot of choice and demonstration, because that's what I'm getting to experience, and I can see how beneficial that is for me as a learner. So I constantly am reflecting, how would I feel if I was a kid in my class? And I think just even that one simple question, and not just in general, but on a day-to-day basis, like looking at my lesson plan for today or what I'm hoping it's going to look like. Would I want to be in my classroom? And just that reflection has been huge. But also hopping into the social media circuit is game changing. And I would say a huge portion of educators don't realize that. They might be on there, but you get out of it what you put into it. And if you're just lurking, you're not getting much out of it. And then just, I've kind of really immersed myself with the DBC books that have been coming out. They come out like crazy. So I've, swimming, trying to keep up with them. But I love that it's not philosophy or theory-based kind of education.
Right.
It's practical and kind of like lights your fire and gets you pumped up. And I think as educators, we always need that, just to feel that energy.
Wow, you touched on some more really amazing points there. It sounded like you didn't use the term, but it sounded like you were describing inquiry mindset at the outset there, in terms of just giving students more agency and control over their learning and allowing them to pursue their passions. And then for any listeners who don't know what Kim's talking about with DBC, that's Dave Burgess Consulting, and I think his firm has published over 50 books, and they are amazing. And like you said, they're not written in sort of lofty, esoteric, pedagogical language. It's very, very practical. It's popular. I was going to say popular fiction. They're not fiction, but they're very easy to read. It's like, you're talking to the teacher in the classroom next door, and it's awesome stuff. So,
and that's another thing with Twitter too. Like all of them almost you can connect with and
it's amazing.
Have conversations with. And it's just this strange phenomenon. Yeah. Like these people you can now like have contact with and ask them questions about your classroom or get feedback for ideas. And so many of them, I left off Twitter chats, but so many of these books have their own little communities online.
It's true. Yeah.
And not only do you get to connect with the author, but oh my goodness, all the amazing people that have that same specific interest that whatever the book was about, and I've just met so many people that way too.
Well, Kim, I love it. I feel like I'm a Twitter evangelist in my world, and I can tell you are as well. So let's just keep preaching it, and hopefully more teachers will jump on the Twitter bandwagon.
Yes.
Kim, tell us about a personal habit. Now, I'm so intrigued. I mean, you're the definition of lifelong learner in the sense that you are not only learning informally, but formally. You're working on, it sounds like to me, at least your 4th degree, if we're including bachelors. Yes. So
yeah.
So what is it? And I'm curious. I mean, I'm actually working through my first master's, very modest compared to you, but give me a secret here. Like, what is your habit that contributes to your success and helps you keep all the plates spinning?
I just crave knowledge, I guess. Like I just am not satisfied with a specific set of tools. I just want to find something new and keep getting better. And, I always say, like, I just haven't quite figured out what I want to be when I grow up, and within education, that's kind of a cool thing. My path to get there was I had no control over really. Like it was this beyond me kind of thing, how I ended up in education. But within education, there's so many different little facets of, administration or reading specialist or like my curriculum instruction or technology. And, after this one, I'm already like, what can I do next?
Oh my goodness.
Especially the format that this program is in. It's through Wayne State College here in Nebraska, but I had to give them a little shout out. It's just so, I don't know, it's awesome. I go once a month and it's all teachers. It's like 30 of us that stick together in a cohort program through the whole time. And so it's just like going to a professional development session every, month. And
right.
I get just as much from the conversations with the people there that I do from, any of the information they give us as far as handouts or anything like that.
Love it. It's all about engagement, right? So much of learning happens in engagement, and that's, wow, we could go on that one for a while, but we're going to move into the rapid fire recommendations here, Kim. So now you've got a ton of followers on Twitter. I know you're very involved. This first question is going to be a tough one for you, but is there one education leader that we need to be following on Twitter? And maybe it's someone who's not on the radar. Maybe it is. It's up to you.
Okay, well, this is the easy question if I'm going someone on the radar, because honestly, my entire Twitter journey started by following Dave Burgess.
Okay.
So from him, I swear everyone is a TLAP fan and Teach Like a Pirate. And they should be, because it's amazing. And that's kind of what started my fire with, learning and connecting, and it's all about finding your crew. And I guess before, you didn't even realize that it could be people beyond your school walls. You just assumed like the people that were next to you were who you had for your professional learning, and little did I know it's massive, global. But so he would definitely be where I would recommend, if you're going to follow one person, to follow him. But someone off the radar that's kind of fun too, I would say Carrie Bogcombe. She's at Heck Awesome. She's kind of just all over the place. She's a special ed teacher, but she does a lot of cool stuff with Sketchnotes, and she's got a pretty sweet YouTube channel and into gamification. And I've gotten a lot of cool ideas from her. So I wouldn't say she's off the radar. Like, she's definitely out there, but yeah, she's another fun one I learn a lot from.
No, that's cool. I look forward to checking her out. And just going from memory, I don't think I'm following her. So that's always love hearing about other cool people. Sketchnoting is so cool. I mean, I haven't done sketchnoting myself. I've admired Sylvia Duckworth's stuff for a long time. And now more and more people are jumping on that as well. So at Heck Awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely at Heck Awesome. Yeah, it's pretty easy to remember, but she actually did the illustrations for Tara Martin's new book that she has out, Be Real. And that's what, when you said, about connections. So those two, met online on,
There we go.
probably TLAF, I'm guessing. But so one talent, another talent, and got something incredible. So
look at that. Kim, point us to an ed tech tool that you currently love using there in your 7th grade classroom.
Oh my gosh, it's like picking a favorite child, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna, just because it's my thing, I'm gonna say Edu GIFs. So just creating GIFs. I use Jiffy most of the time, but I've also used Make a GIF for like longer video things. But we have used them in my classroom for vocabulary, for inferencing, for fun, for main ideas. We made like main idea trailers, and they had to put, a little meme sentence summarizing the main idea of that movie clip or whatever. And we've had a lot of fun last year with GIFs, and I'm looking forward to introducing them this year too. We started off day one with just a Jiffy Cam app just for fun, and had like a prop bucket and stuff like that. But getting into the content is going to be really fun too. And so I'm always brainstorming up new things to try out. So.
Well, I am a big Bitmoji fan. I find my 8th graders love the Bitmojis, but I don't have a very good GIF game going on right now. So thank you for that too.
Well, if you go to Dave Burgess's website and you search in the search bar, get your GIF on, there will be some tutorials by me. I'm just saying. So
okay.
If you want to check it out, I made that last year, but I need to get some updates going there too. But my class also just put Bitmojis. We're building our tech toolkit the first 2 weeks of school, just with get to know you things, so that they have that ready when we dive into the content to demonstrate their learning. And we all have a Bitmoji, so we're good to go.
Just as an aside, Kim, I would love to hear more about that tech toolkit session, or sort of what you include in that. But I'll just ask, do you have something out there on the interwebs, a YouTube video or blog post or anything that sort of grabs that?
Yes, that would kind of like go in that direction for the grid method or mastery learning. So you could find it on the Grid Methods website, but I did a blog for them last spring on just metacognition tools, including BookSnaps and Sketchnotes and Edu GIFs. And I'm trying to think here, even just like Flipgrid and stuff like that. Podcasts are a big one. Anything that, appeals to all different types of learners. So your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic, learner, if they have all of those tools already, that's 90% of the battle. And I just throughout the year last year kind of realized, why am I teaching these when I'm trying to get them to demonstrate their learning? Because now I'm having to get them to demonstrate their tech skills and trying to, so right. I knew this year I was going to start with, we call it EdTech Tool Boot Camp, and just provide them with a couple days on each one, and they master those, and I get to know them because we gear all of the assignment to complete the task, something about you, like all about my selfie or whatever. And so we've come a long way in 10 days, but we're ready to get rolling on Tuesday after Labor Day.
Well, I like that idea of laying the EdTech tool foundation for the year, getting kids comfortable with a lot of the apps and, the fun things too. I mean, starting off the year with a few laughs and Bitmojis and GIFs and all of that kind of fun stuff I think it's just a good way to build community and culture in a class too. So very cool.
Yeah, you should see some of these Bitmojis. They look like the Hulk or Santa Claus or whatever. But I'm like, okay, just so you can't change it.
Kim, recommend a book that maybe you've been reading through the summer, or one of your all-time faves, and tell us why you recommend it.
Oh, there are quite a few I have read recently, and I have plenty more stacking up. But this summer, I started off with The Pepper Effect.
Okay.
And that was just kind of a real lighthearted, kind of whimsical read. But it just, again, another one that just kind of gets you excited and makes you want to do great things at your school and keep it a positive, upbeat atmosphere. Also, I read the EduNinja book, and that was kind of just an inspiring personal goal and professional goal oriented book that made you kind of feel like you could conquer anything. And I'm kind of into fitness too, so it was another refreshing read. And then right now, I'm just in the midst of Tara Martin's Be Real, and that is incredible. I guess I'm just going to say that. So her story is unbelievable, and it's amazing that she is where she is, but she had some amazing educators along the way, which is why I'm sure she ended up being an amazing educator herself. So many great ones.
All right. Thank you for those. Be Real. That last one was Be Real by Tara Martin. And everything I see a lot of raves on Twitter. So Tara Martin, good stuff. We want to see more. And next, now, obviously, I'm into podcasting, have been for a few months, still new to this game. But is there one that you're really enjoying on your daily commute that we need to add to our deck?
Yes. Well Played.
Okay.
That is Michael Matera's YouTube podcast. I guess he does both. It's an audio and video, but his YouTube channel is also amazing. And I'm just diving into on Tuesday. So my first year-long gamified class, and it's part of my master's thesis for this program that I'm in right now as well. But I dabbled with it last year a little bit with about a quarter-long unit, and just what I experienced in my classroom was amazing as far as behavior changes and engagement and motivation to go beyond required assignments. And so I'm excited to dive in, but there's so many good ideas. And he doesn't just post game podcasts. He does a lot with just joyful learning and different personal challenges. They have like this 5 for 5 thing. You try 5 new things every day for 5 days, or one new thing every day for 5 days, and see if you can make it and then move on to the next thing. And I don't know, I've just taken a lot away from that specific podcast. So
cool. Well, I don't have that one in my phone right now, so I look forward to adding it. And I was just introduced to Michael Matera a couple of weeks ago, and I have a feeling you probably watched some of his daily, or no, not the daily, the Hive Summit.
Oh,
Did you see any of that?
have.
Or were you one of his guests?
I helped run the Twitter page, so I was kind of the Jiffer, the helping him promote, because he just took this giant thing on all by himself, and so
he did.
There was a few of us behind the scenes that gave him a little helping hand, but it was unbelievable. So
yeah, well, I know we need to move on here, but you mentioned Dave Burgess, and that was really my first introduction to Dave's style. I mean, I've never heard him live, and so watching him, I was like, I had to pull back from the screen. I'm like, this guy is intense. So
yes.
But we mentioned Dave Burgess earlier, and I think, unfortunately, the Hive Summit videos are down now. I think I remember reading that.
They are.
Yeah, that it's just sort of the one-time deal, but I'm sure there will be more Hive Summits. And if you're a little bit lost and you're not sure what we're talking about here, Michael Matera has a YouTube channel, and he pulled together, what was it, about a dozen sort of education rock stars, and did just a phenomenal series of videos. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a lineup of just all different kinds of educators. But, you know, you had, Sarah Thomas, and you had Dave Burgess, and then, of course, Michael Matera, and then Joe Sanfilippo, the tech rabbi, Michael Cohen. Yeah, there was just some pretty amazing people on there. And so it was fun to listen to, and they were available for like 14 days, and then they were gone. But I'm sure there will be another Hive Summit or some more professional development offered through the Hive. So if you are not following that particular group on Twitter, I would also recommend At Hive Summit, so you can stay up to date on all that free PD, because anytime you can get that kind of rock star professional development for free, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, another great one was Rick Wormley, who I have heard live.
Oh, yeah.
So many great gems from him too. So
Fair isn't equal. He's got some great stuff too. So
yes. Well, Kim, we've got two more questions. They're both related to video. So is there a YouTube channel that you're subscribing to? Now, I'm kind of a YouTube evangelist as well, because a lot of teachers are still not subscribing to channels. They're just sort of, surfing around YouTube, typing in what they need to find. But is there a channel that they should subscribe to start to build a good package of subscriptions?
Well, I just know at my school, even just recently over the summer, a lot of teachers have watched Michael Matera's YouTube channel. I think it's just Mr. Matera is how you find it. But he has a lot of Lego things and Play-Doh lessons and, obviously the gamified stuff. So just quick little challenges that maybe aren't or doesn't mean you're having an entire gamified class, but, things you can do for reviews and stuff like that. So a lot of teachers at our middle school, just because middle school kids eat that stuff up, and that's his level too. And so that's one I've definitely followed. And then actually just this morning on my commute, I watched Stefanie Crawford. She would be a newer YouTuber, I would say.
Okay.
But she had a cool activity you could do in your classroom too. So I love the ones that aren't just philosophical, again, kind of like the books, but where I'm getting something I could use that day in my classroom. So
love it. And then, Kim, I don't know what we're going to hear on this last question, because it sort of moves away from education a little bit. And I feel like you probably don't have a lot of time to sit on the couch. But if you are at the end of your day and you have no energy left for any master's studies or lesson prep, what are you watching on Netflix these days?
oh my goodness, you're right on. Like this is what I do, is I read and I, connect and I listen, and I don't do a lot of TV. I do have Netflix, but I would say the last thing I binge watched was Fuller House or something pretty lame like that.
Oh, wow. Throwback. Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to up my game as far as staying up with pop culture on Netflix for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Weakness.
Well, we'll put need in quotes. I'm not sure if that's something you need to worry too much about, but yeah, that's right. We won't give it a grade. We'll just some feedback. Needs improvement. Well, Kim, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights. What are the best ways for the listeners to follow you online?
I would say the best way is just my Twitter, at Kim Snodgrass. And I'm going to be working on getting some sort of blog out there. But for now, I would say that is my go-to.
Okay.
I do have a classroom website, kimsnodgrass.weebly.com, where I post some things. But I would say the majority you're going to find on Twitter. I try to use that kind of as my idea sharing space at the moment. But
well, Kim, thank you so much again. This has been fantastic, and love what you're putting out there. Don't know how you're finding time to do it all, but I guess not watching Netflix is a part of that solution. So
yeah,
little bit of a learning cue for me, I guess. But hey, Kim, just want to wish you all the best as you go through the school year, and yeah, good luck on that third master's degree.
Awesome. Thank you. This has been so fun. So look forward to chatting with you again.
Sounds good. Okay. Take care, Kim. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Teachers on Fire, where teachers come to share, learn, and be inspired. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes, and follow us on Twitter at Teachers on Fire. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, saying goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast.